Grandmama used to pray, oh Lord, please save them from the evil snares and all the dangers that entangle. Yea, though they walking through the valley of the shadows, just prepare and make them fit for every battle, because I know they bound to come, and I know they bound to fall, but in your bounty, Lord, preserve their beautiful. Right, we still survive and offer grandma's prayers, surrounded by the jungle and the lion's den. Tread light, cause these traps is inconspicuous. They hide right in plain sight, thinking we don't see them when they linger. Look right beneath the surface, then leave a trail of corpses. Crisis, prices, your life a disposable commodity. Like living in this fantasy, conditioned to believe that the system even cares whether selling CDs or walking or driving or reading. Look, they don't even need a reason. It's just you breathing and being black. When it's such a pretty fall, it don't seem like we falling at all, at all. It's just a GMO dream, where things are never really what they seem. Please cue the violins, tell them just to play me something pretty, cause this gritty city got me screaming bloody murder. City got me screaming. This gritty city got me on some. Look, get your hand up on my pocket. Distraction, so lazy they use the same tactics. Like condom with some trinkets, just don't let them get to thinking. That light bulb gets a blinking. You know niggas and ideas. Oh dear, my dear, you may not know me, but I know you very well. Foresight, they say hindsight is 2020. Well, tell me something, we gotta see that history is on repeat. And maybe it takes the beat and the melody to speak a little louder than the message in the clouds or the essence in the air. I swear, my God is just so clear that a system driven by fear can never give us nothing but more of the same things. Oh, when it's such a pretty fall, it don't seem like we falling at all. It's just a GMO dream, where things are never really what they seem. Please cue the violins, tell them just to play me something pretty, cause this gritty city got me screaming. It's murder. Got me screaming, got me. This gritty city got me on song.
What's happening, good people? This is RSTV Live on Black Power Media. Today's a wonderful day. I want to first start off by saying for the past few days I've been hosting Hard Knock Radio for my man Davey D. Shout out to Davey D. Hard Knock Radio on the Pacifica Radio Network. This show right here was initially scheduled to be a part of the Hard Knock Radio piece, but I was informed that because one of our guests is a presidential candidate, that they couldn't air it on there. So we said we have a platform as well, so we're not going to tell our guests that we're not going to support what they're doing. We're going to bring them on here and make it do what it do. And that's no diss to Hard Knock Radio. We respect protocol. We respect structure. So we just didn't know. So, we learned something new. It's a lot to talk about. We know that you have a felon that's running for office right now, convicted felon. And we know we have someone who is probably doped up on Geritol, amongst other things, trying to remember who he is and where he's at, running for office right now. But we also have some independent candidates, as you all know if you've been checking out this platform. Two of our favorite folks will be joining us today. One is a political candidate who has been in our People's Liberation Movement for decades, at least a half century. I'm not trying to call his age out, nothing like that, because I know his fight game is still on point, so I don't want no problems. You know what I mean? So we got my main man, Dr. Cornel West, in the building. Dr. Cornel West, how you doing, sir?
Brother, you know it's always a joy to be in conversation with you, man. You got my heart leaping because I know who you are. You love the people, you serve the people, and you got style straight out of Bridgeport, brother. The best of Bridgeport in the house. The one and only brother Kalonji himself.
Listen, man, y'all need to vote for Dr. Cornel West on that alone. I mean, I don't care who else running. I'm sorry, I'm cool with a couple of other candidates. You know what I'm saying? But this is the deal right here. Dr. Cornel, I appreciate you coming on because, you're one of the few folks that I know that won't front. If you're available, you're available. And if you don't feel like talking, you're going to say, look here, man, today ain't really that day. You know what I mean? I'm going to kick back and relax and kick the Willy Bobo.
No. Yeah, I was just with David D, man. Just yesterday, we were at Brother David Kim and Amy Allison's wonderful wedding. And
Okay.
he just got back from Mexico looking so wonderful with his lovely wife. And I said, I can't wait to be on your show with Brother Kalonji, the one and only. He said, oh yeah, well that's gonna be nice. It's gonna be nice. So he was strong. He had his people there doing the music and he looking so sharp.
Okay. So Dave, you're on vacation while we working. I see how this thing goes. It's all good. Cornel West he didn't stitch Davey, but we got the drop on you right now. So Dr. West, we know that you've been heavy duty pushing political prisoners. So I wanted to invite to our conversation one of the newer, brighter, strong attorneys out there who avoids the spotlight at all costs. Usually we see her in print, but she's agreed to join us. She represents our good brother and comrade Leonard Peltier. We have Attorney Jenipher Jones in the building. How you doing, Attorney Jones?
Hello, Kalonji. Hello, Dr. West. It's just such an honor to be here. Thank you for having me, Kalonji. Thank you for serving on Leonard's board as well. It really is just a pleasure and honor. Thank you.
Right on. Definitely an honor. So I'm not going to hold you two up because I know you all out there fighting a good fight. You know what I mean? And I'm looking to join you, so I don't want no problems. I want to start off with Dr. West because we can't have you on and not have you say a few words about Sleepy Genocide Joe and Mr. Trump. We know they just had their first debate recently, and I want your thoughts on it because, and also I'm wondering why the independents weren't invited to this particular piece, and who nominated these folks because I don't know anybody.
Yeah, no, I hear you. But I do want to salute my dear sister Jenipher, though. She's brilliant and courageous legal minds of her generation. I think I'd have been at college at Loyola too. Is that right?
Yes, that's true. Yes.
Oh, Lord. No, because the younger generation makes all the difference in the world. Those of us who have been at it for 50 years, when we see young sisters like you, young brothers like Kalonji, he might be a little bit older, but he's so young in heart and mind. He's just wise too. But that makes a difference. But no, I mean, what we saw, you could see the route in the system. On the one hand, you got a convicted criminal. On the other hand, you got a war criminal. It was very clear that it was a farce. It was a humiliation. It was the embarrassment. You got mendacity and lies coming out of Trump. You got lies, but at the same time, senility coming out of Biden. You say, oh, this is the best that the system can do out of 330 million folk. These are the two you want to be head of the empire. Is the empire so decadent and so deteriorated and so declining that this is the best you can do? And then what happens? The media corps starts coming. They begin to lie. Oh, Biden just had one bad night. Oh, yeah, he just had one bad night. I see. No, it's chronic. It's been like that for a long time. They haven't said a mumbling word because they want access to power. They want access to some kind of status. And you say, all of them lying. It's just legalized bribery and normalized corruption. Who gonna tell the truth? I saw in your wonderful introductory what would be just the flow of the different peoples and messages. You say truth is a foreign language. Only few folk want to speak it these days. Sure. You got to go on your show. You got to go on Sister Jennifer's court to get some truth. They lying about Leonard. They lying about Mumia. They lying about Jamil, H. Rat Brown. The layer of lies hiding the levels of crimes in a decadent empire is unbelievable. And yet we still standing and still swinging. That's the key. We still standing. We still swinging. We telling the truth. We seeking justice for Leonard and all the others. And we're going to go down swinging.
Yeah. I want to ask, and I definitely appreciate that, Dr. West. Before I get to Jenipher, I want to ask you because again, you mentioned, and I love the way you put it, a war criminal and a convicted felon. So you got two criminals, period. I mean, they both should be candidates for prison, but yet we have Leonard Peltier, a man who would be 80 years old this coming September, a man who served 47, 48 years in prison, being denied parole, the parole board saying, okay, boom, come back in 15 years and we'll see if you'll be eligible then. 15 years, he'd be close to 95 years old. But yet you have these two felons, these two war criminals, because they're both war criminals, actually, and Trump in particular, in court right now, and there's no thought or consideration of him going to prison, Supreme Court stacking the deck, so on and so forth. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, what type of message are we sending? Not even we, but what type of message is the empire sending the world?
Yeah, in the case of our dear brother Leonard, though, he is a love warrior and a freedom fighter in a war that was declared 400 years ago.
Yes.
4 centuries and more, the war has been going on. Militarily, psychically, socially, politically, economically, he decided to join the army of liberation. And he has been willing to pay the cost. And he still got a smile. He still got his style. He still got joy in his heart. He still got a freedom in his mind. He reminds me of Mumi in that sense. Because I got a chance to really visit Mumi. I've never got a chance to visit my dear brother Leonard at all. I hope to be able to do this. Is Leavenworth still?
He's in USP Coleman 1 in Florida.
In Florida.
Yes.
Oh, okay. It's down in Florida. That's right, because Kalonji, you talked about going to Florida, and we try to go there together because we're going to try to do something like that. But the reason I put it in that context is that this is true for Black people too. You see, we've been in a war for over 400 years. Different kind of war, but a similar war in other ways. And the question becomes, what kind of armor do we have? How are we equipped? Are we ready spiritually, psychically, socially, politically to be able to sustain our love warriorship and our freedom fighting ship and then pass it on to the next generation? And more than anything else, Shakespeare said ripeness is all. You got to be ripe. You got to be ready. You got to be equipped. It's the 6th chapter of Ephesians. Put on the whole armor, the breastplate, the shield, all the way down. Our old folk use that language. We just understand we put it in the right context. That's what will keep us going.
Right on. I told Dr. West last time he was on, he's one of the greatest rappers alive. You know what I'm saying? And I think Jenipher might can agree with that for her generation as well. I'm not.
Yes.
But I heard she could rap too, so you might need a rap partner.
I don't know.
But Attorney Jones, I know that of course Leonard has been in the news this week in particular, real heavy. Every channel we turn to, every newspaper. He even made the cover of the Final Call. And that right there, you don't always make the cover of the Final Call. So he got a 3-page spread in there, so on and so forth. So everybody's talking about Leonard Peltier. I know that you all, if you don't mind, tell us where things are right now. I know that you prepared a statement, you and your team. So I guess we can start with you, giving us a glimpse of that statement, and then we can kind of go into, let's give us a possible summary of what the parole commissioners talked about, because we don't see anything logical as to why this man who served close to 50 years is still locked up.
Absolutely. Well, that's a great question. Dr. West talked about we're going down swinging, and so are we. The fight is not over until it is over. Myself as lead attorney and my co-counsel, attorney Maura Meltzer-Cohen, who argued actually that almost 8-hour hearing on June 10th. We are leading the administrative appeal, which is required before heading on to litigation on behalf of Leonard. And we will appeal this grotesque decision because much of it is based on unconstitutional basis, as well as statutory violations. To us, this is a moment of bitter, bitter irony, especially this Independence weekend. I know that that it's been reported that Leonard will have another parole hearing in 2 years. What that is a status conference for what they call old law prisoners that must happen because the U.S. Parole Commission is not actually a commission that hears most of the sentencing for federal prisoners. It's simply reserved for a class of prisoners like Leonard, many of whom are political prisoners who were convicted prior to 1987. And there is a loophole, if you will, a gap, where you see somebody be able to apply for compassionate release and take it to court. That kind of remedy is not available for those class of prisoners, which we call old law prisoners, like Leonard. And so we need administrative relief if we can get it. And we also need relief in court and to bring this to court. The precedent in line with all of the cases like Leonard's, including Mutulu Shakur and others, show that we will have to take this kind of action to court. We've tried every available legal remedy absent that, and it has not worked. So what the Parole Commission decided this week is that Leonard is not to receive a full consideration hearing, or what they call reconsideration hearing, until 2039, when he is 95, just shy of 95 years old. He'll be 94 at that period of time. And of course, in the next 2 years, he'll get the status conference. And if you've ever had any kind of been involved in any kind of legal action or know somebody, that is simply a check-in. It's not the full shebang. Everything does not come in. It's very brief in terms of administrative law and the way that works out. But the hearing examiner and the commission also said that the Bureau of Prisons needs to look into transferring Leonard to a medical facility. Right now, Leonard is housed at USP Coleman 1 in Wildwood, Florida, and is subject to 24/7 lockdown. He spends most of the time locked down in what they call modified operations. And that affects his health daily. His doctor, an independent medical expert that we bring in ourselves to be able to see Leonard, because they do not manage Leonard's health care well. So we've had to hire retain two doctors to go in and see about him so we can see for ourselves what is going on. But the commission also is concerned about Leonard's health. Just yesterday, I spoke to my client and he fell. And that's it. He's a tripping and falling hazard just simply by the makeup of the prison. He's been prescribed a CPAP machine, and yet there's no place for him to plug it in. And so while we are pursuing his release, we would like for him to be transferred to a medical facility. It is ailing. Dr. Renee Morrissey did a wonderful job this entire time just looking after Leonard, but also in his testimony to the commission, because he went through all of Leonard's medical records since he has been incarcerated. And what it demonstrates is a domino effect. That the things about his eyes, Leonard is now going blind in both of his eyes, that the things about his heart, the things with his dental, he now has no teeth left, absent 3 teeth that are just ground down. So he's really not able to eat properly. And of course is arthritic and on a walker. But all of those conditions are things that the Bureau of Prisons had identified itself for the most part from the beginning. And because it failed to follow up, and because it was more interested in the punishment of Leonard, even beyond constitutional bounds, it did not do its job. And now we are in a dire situation where Leonard's health has deteriorated to the point, including his severe diabetes, of near fatality. And every day his resilience in that and being there, of course, gives me strength and amazes me every time, but it is no place that he needs to be. And I think the commission recognized that as well.
So I want to ask you, because you're telling us about, it sounds like, as we know, medically, he's not in the best shape, best condition. Everything from arthritis to, requiring a walker, breathing issues, going blind in both eyes,
That's right.
everything you can name. It just seemed like, I joked before. I'm like, man, you said everything, but he's pregnant right now. You know what I mean? So I'm wondering, like, with these conditions, with this situation, what was the logic or reasoning when we talk about the parole commission and the parole board? What would be the reason that Leonard Peltier shouldn't be released? I mean, what is he going to do? Come out and start a war? Like, I'm kind of confused. I mean, it sounds crazy. I mean, do you agree, Dr. Cornel? I mean, is it, does it sound...
But it just shows how sick these people are, though. You know what I mean? But I know Sister Jenipher got the...
No. I mean, go ahead.
So one of the flaws of the parole commission in their evaluating Leonard for release under parole is the statute that is used, the standard of review. And it is well settled Supreme Court law that the sentencing provision that is in place and that should be applied is one that should be applied when the alleged offense occurred. That's Pew versus United States. And there's other subsequent case law as well. However, what the commission did is use a standard that was in effect after the offense, meaning there was not notice, and that the congressional intent in terms of punishment, which by the time the statute that they are currently using was in place, was much harsher in terms of congressional intent. So what they did is use the statute to say that Leonard promotes a disrespect for the law. And they used several factors, which under that statute they may be allowed to use, but shouldn't be allowing it or using it altogether, to say why Leonard has promoted the disrespect of the law. I could go into the hearing and the way that near 8-hour hearing went, and the kinds of questioning and characteristics that they've made of Leonard. But I won't do that. The bottom line is that they used the wrong statute to determine his eligibility for release to begin with. So they started in the wrong area. And because of that, we had a list of witnesses, including the prosecutor who prosecuted Leonard to begin with, who said there was prosecutorial misconduct, that there was no reason to have convicted Leonard the way that he was convicted, that it's a travesty of justice. That's Attorney James Reynolds. And they would not allow him to speak. At first, we were just given one witness, excluding Dr. Morrissey, and we had to go toe-to-toe with the commission to ask them if they would allow Dr. Morrissey to speak about what is currently a medical emergency in our view. So it started in a bad way in terms of standard, which in terms of the law is very important. If the groundwork and the standard is wrong, then what you get out is also wrong as well. And so they believe releasing Leonard would promote disrespect for the law.
Dr. West, did you just hear Attorney Jones say that that the person who prosecuted Leonard said it was prosecutorial misconduct, and they didn't even want to hear that from the person that prosecuted? So I mean, what's your thoughts on that? Because I'm sitting here and I'm thinking maybe I'm high and I don't even smoke, Dr. West. You know what I'm saying? I quit just to come on this show. I'm just joking. But
I might start smoking tonight. You know what I mean? Lord. I mean, it's just the level of sickness. It goes beyond hypocrisy. It goes beyond mendacity. It's sociopathic to keep our dear brother Leonard under these conditions, given the fact that he's innocent, given the fact that he has been telling the truth and seeking justice for indigenous peoples all of his life in solidarity with oppressed people around the world. And it's just, to me, his fight back is just beyond description. You know, it's the fact that he's got all this coming at him and he's still fighting. He's still on the move. He's still inspiring us. It's like, good God Almighty, it's almost majestic and sublime and divine all at the same time. It's like, Lord have mercy. This brother Leonard coming out, is it South Dakota or North Dakota? One of the Dakotas. It's
North.
like he's a dynamo. He really is. And people understand that around the world. We saw it with Nelson Mandela. We saw it with Martin King. We saw it with Fannie Lou Hamer. We see it with Mumi. I see it with H. Rap Jamil. We've seen it with Assata Shakur. These are they who, out of deep love of the people, have been willing to pay the highest cost. And we cannot but be inspired by their courage and their vision and their determination. And yet we just understand the sheer pathology and social pathic character of what is coming at him with the people who have been lying about him and criminalizing him in this way. So I salute you, Sister Jenipher. I really do, because you know, your sharp legal analysis of this thing breaks it down and illuminates and inspires too. But we just know that what we up against is just so sick. And yet in the end, we know that it might be mighty, but it's not almighty.
Yes.
They think that they in control now, forever now. Lies will someday come to a close. Truth and justice crush the earth, will rise again. And that's also the focus that we need to highlight in this situation, it seems to me.
You know, Dr. West, you said one of the things you said earlier. You said that this war began 400 years ago, and I'm looking. I'm just thinking about. I'm thinking about the audacity. You're talking about a people, the same quote unquote justice system that raped, robbed, pillaged, destroyed, and stole the land of this man's ancestors.
That's right.
Put him on trial, railroaded him. Now attempts to humiliate him, sits him in front of this body of this unjust body, and puts him on trial again, and then tells for 8 hours,
8 hours.
and then tells him to come back in 15 years and we'll see what's good.
Mm.
Um, what are as a person, as a candidate for head of the empire, for president of the United States, what should be the stance on political prisoners? Because we know that the United States doesn't acknowledge political prisoners. So I want to know your stance, and if by sheer chance we have President Cornel West in office, what would the chances of liberation for Imam Jamil Al-Amin, formerly H. Rap Brown, Mumir Abu Jamal, Kamal Siddiqui, and Leonard Peltier look like?
Yeah, brother, not only on the first day, but on the first morning, I am having a wholesale pardon of political prisoners across the board. Now, I'm talking about abolition of poverty, abolition of homelessness and unhousedness, supporting the militant wing of the trade union movement, major disinvestment of 800 military units around the world, 130 special operations over 100 countries. But symbolically, the first thing is I'm not going into the White House till everybody has a house. But the second thing is the massive pardoning of those innocent political prisoners like the ones you mentioned, and not only with their transfer, but the transfer is going to be of a high quality, brother. They're going to be able to live lives in which they flower and flourish in all of their creativity and rich humanity that we know they've always had will be able to be manifest outside of these repressive apparatuses with which they've had to come to terms for so very, very long. And we're gonna play some Curtis Mayfield in the background. We're gonna have some Aretha in the background. We're gonna bring in a little Anita Baker and Phyllis Hyman too, and then James Brown and Sly Stone gonna take us home and say, yeah, they all now are no longer political prisoners, and that's just the first step of dismantling the empire. We still got some structural and institutional things to follow through on, but Brother Leonard's gonna be free. Oh, our dear brother Leonard's gonna be free the first morning when I move into power and without moving to the White House until all of my precious brothers and sisters who are homeless have a house and are treated with dignity.
Yes.
It's all good. Well, I'm rolling up to the black house because we're gonna paint it black. In an all black something, bumping Junior walking on the All Stars shotgun. Shoot 'em up, baby.
Yes, shotgun too. Good God Almighty.
Just to make sure we on point. I know we pressed for time. Attorney Jenipher Jones, what can we do to the people? What are some ways that we can support Leonard Peltier? I know that from visiting Leonard, one of the things that he asked me specifically was to get the black community involved in his campaign because Leonard Peltier, the American Indian movement, and so many others, some of my comrades, the Native Youth Movement, they've always had support for African and colonized people. And oftentimes Leonard is somewhat forgotten amongst the community. So how can we, at Black Power Media, at Hard Knock Radio, and all these other platforms support Leonard Peltier?
Well, first, I will always say, because I center my client first, is that if you have an opportunity to write Leonard in very big letters, by and large, black and white, 24-point font, please send him a note. He loves jokes. He loves, current events and things like that. He likes that when he is able to read it in an appropriate volume. But Leonard has a wonderful and diverse committee, the ad hoc committee, www.freeleonardpeltiernow.org, and on Instagram, I am Peltier. I know many people have said, what can I do? Be feeling very beleaguered by the decision. And I will just say to rise up for Leonard Peltier. He has sacrificed. He cannot walk. And so we hope to walk for him during his birthday in New Orleans and other locations around the world, really, his 80th birthday. He cannot see. So we hope to see for him in many ways and with him. In many ways, his voice is restrained. And so we hope to speak with him in his tradition, in his culture, and the things that he values. And he always, and I know Leonard well, that he always brings those AIM values with him wherever he goes. He never lets it go. And so now it is our turn. It is our turn to stand up and to rise up for Leonard Peltier.
Right on. Dr. West, any final words before we let you all go? I know y'all got to get out there and swinging and, knocking out white supremacy and injustice, so on and so forth. I'm putting my gloves on. So what you guys up? See it? Look, man, he got that Marvin Hagler in him. I'm not sure.
No, I think Sister Jenipher said it all.
Right on.
Yes,
right on.
indeed. Her eloquence just soars in the atmosphere.
No doubt. Yes. I want to thank you all for joining us here today. You've been checking out. I'm gonna call this the Hard Knock Radio edition of RSTV Black Power Media. We're gonna make it happen regardless. That's what we do, right?
Thank you.
Shout out to the Hard Knocks. Anyway, definitely.
We love you, Brother Kalonji, man. I love you. We love you.
Thank you.
Love you all as well. We appreciate you. Be safe out there. We'll see you in the whirlwind. Also,
respect you. Love you now.
Also, want to shout out our brother Daruba, who just turned 80 years old earlier
Yes,
this week.
happy birthday.
Yes, love Brother Daru. It's hard to believe he's 80 though. I can see his birth certificate. I don't
Man,
believe
listen.
it. I don't believe
The way he stressed me out, I feel 80. I don't know. Right on. Y'all stay on top of the world. We're gonna see you soon.
Y'all stay strong now.
Stay strong. Thank you again.
Thank you. You're checking out RSTV. That was our brother Dr. Cornel West, along with attorney Jenipher Jones. Make sure that you tap in and get familiar with what's going on. And we will definitely see you in the whirlwind. Continue to support our platform, Black Power Media. There's only one Black Power Media. I don't know what you heard, but this is it. So make sure that you subscribe to our channel. Support Leonard Peltier. Support Mumia Abu Jamal and all other political prisoners. Until next time, we're going to keep it moving. We're going to take you out with a quick little song, little ditty. And, stay on point. RSTV, Black Power Media, we out.